SNL has been so out of touch comedically speaking, it's been pathetic. Usually you've got like, whenever they do a turnover of a new cast, there's sort of you get a getting used to period, and then you get used to them, and then the writers sort of settle in, and it can work. So every time you say, oh, SNL's not funny anymore, and then wait a couple years and it gets funny again because you settle into the new cast. It has not been funny since 2017. I mean, I do think, and it was the 2016 election that broke entertainment and began all this nonsense. But 2017 was the last time they ever made fun of anything woke. And I can tell you exactly what the skit was because I've watched it so many times. It was the episode hosted by Ryan Gosling when he did that little sketch about papyrus, how like lazy it was that the Avatar logo is just papyrus.
Yes, the papyrus typeface. I remember that.
Dumb. Anyways, that was a funny sketch, but the funniest thing SNL has done, and the last funny thing they did for me was in 2017. It was a fake commercial for a product called Woke Jeans. And it was a bunch of diverse people from the cast of SNL and Ryan Gosling wearing these jeans that were genderless, that were like, it was like all these things. What color is it? It wasn't like a certain color. Like, it made fun of everything that is stupid about people that are overly woke. It was hilarious. We can't play it. If we do play it, it's going to get...
Oh, you'll get nailed.
You'll get nailed. But look up this commercial, Woke Jeans SNL. Search for it. It is so good. And then after that commercial, they never did anything. They didn't mock wokeness. All they did was mock Trump. And it's like, it made it not funny. I mean, and also like, because I stopped watching SNL. And by the way, I have been watching SNL since the 70s when I was a kid. And my parents would let me stay up late and watch SNL. It was a big deal on a Saturday night to be able to stay up late and watch that. And I never missed an episode.
Me neither. And you know what my cutoff show was? When Elon Musk was on and a chunk of the cast decided they either refused to come to the show or perform with him. And I went, these are not comedians.
Yes, that is lame. It's so lame. Yeah, I think that was the last
unbelievably lame.
It was the last episode I remember watching the entire thing because Elon Musk was on and I wanted to see. Now it's lecturing BS.
And you know what the funny thing was? It was the largest, it was the most watched episode of the year. This is what drives me nuts. This is crazy. Up here in Toronto, there was a revolt against the publisher of Peterson's second book on 12 things stupid people should do with their lives, whatever it's called. And they had a revolt and they demanded to see the president of the Canadian publisher. And they met and they said, well, we're really uncomfortable that you're publishing Jordan Peterson's book. And the publisher went, look, we publish 100 books a year. Only 2 books each year make enough money for us to cover your fucking salaries. Jordan's is one of them.
Yeah. That was great. That was great. It's just,
and so this drives me nuts.
It's a profound lack of awareness of the people within the organization doing everything they can to destroy the organization.
Yes.
And the original mission of the organization, which SNL is. It's the end of the week. It's late night. What am I doing home on a Saturday night? Make me laugh. And SNL has not done that for so long. But that Woke Jeans commercial, please everybody watch it. Give it a thumbs up. That was the last time. And this offhand joke from Adam Driver, okay, great. I heard about it. I'm not going to watch SNL for one offhand joke that was like, oh, too little, too late, if you ask me. If anything, the weekend update, and you remember this, Paul, you're a historian of television. Actually, pretty much everyone here is a historian of TV, but you know more than us. Weekend Update was so in tune with it. It made fun of both sides. It made fun of everybody. It made fun of whoever was the sitting president. And after Obama, they stopped making fun of presidents. It was weird. Like, shouldn't we make fun of all presidents? Nope, not him.
No, that was actually an explicit policy from what I understand.
SNL has always been a little bit more nicer to the Democratic presidents. Let's be fucking real. They made Clinton look cool. They with his Phil Hartman's version of him was generally with the saxophone and all that kind of stuff. And if it was one of the Republican presidents, they were really harsh on him. But they were generally a little bit more balanced. But you're right, and I agree with you for the most part, Chris. I would go even farther back because they're mostly missed than hit. Past probably post Chris Farley dying. Like, right. I mean, I know he wasn't part of the show when he died. He had just left. But at that point, the show just wasn't the same. The only thing I feel like they had after that was Will Ferrell. And when Will Ferrell's the best thing you got in your show, that's sad. It just turned into a shit fest after that.
Well, part of that has to do with when Phil Hartman left, because he was considered the guiding hand of SNL's revival in the 80s and into the 90s. And he left to go do news radio, which broke Chris Farley's heart. And that's why he left soon afterwards. And you can see it. And not only that, I think the E Street Band left as well around that same time. So the musical guests got boring too. So everything completely shifted in that mid-90s point. And Weekend Update, heck, that segment is directly created by Lorne Michaels, because he used to do that up here at CBC, the Weekend Update, on his own pitch called Terrific.
It got more political during the Dennis,
the Hart and Lauren Terrific Hour.
Yes,
during the Dennis what's his face years, didn't it? I'm trying to think.
Oh, Dennis Leary.
Dennis Leary. That's what I thought it was. Yeah, he was the one who made it.
Dennis Miller.
Dennis Miller. I was going to say not Leary. Yeah.
Leary.
He's the one who made it a bit more political when they started doing more politics during the news break.
Yeah, because I mean, they would lean a little bit more against the Republicans at that time, but when they would make fun of all the philandering that Clinton did in during his presidency, they did make fun of Jimmy Carter a few times, like the 100-foot Jimmy Carter sketch, where they make fun of the fact that he's a nuclear physicist who then got irradiated and became this giant person and then ended up marrying the maid. And Dan Aykroyd did a pretty funny interpretation of that.
They were never political in the way Peter
that
Cook,
they are now.
The establishment was in the UK. So there's political and there's political. There's gentle poking at fun at things, which isn't particularly political. The cold opening, which I saw on YouTube, of the university presidents being questioned about their anti-Semitism or whatever, the bit. And I found it was shockingly short of being as scathing as it could have been. It could have been brutally funny, but they just backed off. And I thought, okay, what's the point in doing a comedy show if you're not going to go for it? I mean, that was hugely disappointing. I'm trying to think of, there was the Frost Report in the UK that was very political. I don't know if in the United States we ever got anything that was super scary political. Oh, the Smothers Brothers.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That had fantastic satire, but they were also in the middle of the Vietnam War. The Trump killed satirical comedy in the United States.
Well, and that's where I'll agree with Chris specifically on the fact that, because that became a moment when it was between Obama and Trump, because you couldn't make fun of Obama, and Trump was just something they couldn't handle, right? And it broke so many people. And it really was
brains completely. I mean,
it was where SNL should have ended
simply afterwards.
Yeah, it's where SNL should have ended, because at that point they couldn't get past their own bias on shit.
They also had a difficult time getting someone to do Obama. I think they got Jay Ferreira for a bit, and then he just didn't want to do the thing anymore.
Right.
Left. Because that's the other part too. If they can't find an actor that can do the president, then all their low-hanging fruit sketches are thrown in the bin, in which case they actually have to work at trying to make something funny, and you're not going to get that from current day.
Yeah, but Don
comedy
Cheadle
writers.
is always available to be your black substitute, so they should have hired him.
They should.
Norm Macdonald. I mean, even Weekend Update has gotten really, really weak, and Norm Macdonald's run was brilliant. That was an amazing run. He got. I mean, he stood up for one of his writers, and then they shit can him, and he left to support his writer. I remember the joke where when O.J. Simpson won his court case, and his joke was, it's now official. Murder is legal in California.
Yeah, that got him in some hot water.
But that's a gutsy joke.
Oh, I love Norm Macdonald was like the pinnacle of pushing the limit.
Yes.
And I loved him for that because I'm somebody who's like that too. I love to just push the limit. And he was the best at that. In fact, didn't he get fired twice from the show? If I remember right.
He almost got fired because he accidentally dropped an F-bomb when
the F-bomb once
with the cue cards. And he's like, well, I guess this is my last show. But then he came back the week after and he was fine.
Okay.
Because he did the apology for it. And then, so he was almost fired there. Then he was fired after that. And then shortly after, I think a year later, he came back to host a show. And then the current head of NBC said that he will never be allowed in the building again after that because of his opening monologue. In which case, I guess Lorne Michaels fought for him to come back and do some guest stuff for the Celebrity Jeopardy thing.
That must have been what I remembered then. Yeah.
And people complain about Lorne Michael, depending on, what kind of hand does he have on the show. But even though he is pretty ruthless in terms of picking the stuff he likes and doesn't like, he's also, pretty open about letting the writers learn the craft as they go. So, he's a very interesting person that understands what SNL is about and how things aren't going to be perfect at the beginning and people have to evolve.
Here's a question for Script and Paul to a point. I wonder if, because here's the thing with him. He always used to let the guys kind of run the show and had a competitive nature.
Well, that's still there.
That's what I was curious. Is it allowed though with woke bullshit? That's what I was curious about. Is it still though?
Oh yeah,
because
it's cutthroat. Right. You often have to write your own material to get yourself on.
Yeah, and
what's her name? Who left, the blonde girl that everybody loved? I thought she sucked horribly because she couldn't write.
Kate McKinnon?
Yeah, Kate McKinnon couldn't write.
I hate her. Well, that's my point too, because a lot of this stuff seems to be getting by just because of the politics anymore.
Well, the writers' rooms are of that mindset, and the group of the writers vote on which sketches they're going to put in, and then Lauren gets the final say. So if all the writers are being hired and they have that mentality, that's going to be the status quo. They're not going to put a writer that pushes against that is never going to get their script voted on to go.
That's kind of what I was getting at. Yeah, that's kind of where I was coming from. More is I don't see the nature of the beast behind the scenes being the same as it used to be because of the woke nature of things now, and all the people that are involved with the show are so goddamn woke.
This clip was taken from Midnight's Edge in the Morning, which streams live every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time on the Midnight's Edge main channel. There you can send in your live questions and comments before clips and full stream replays are uploaded to Midnight's Edge live archives. We are also on Twitter, Rumble, Odyssey and Facebook, so smash that like, help share, subscribe and join us.